Hey, welcome back to Vox Terra. Good to have you here again. So listen, I might call this episode The T-Shirt Trump Doesn't Want You to Have, Artist Talk 1. And by that I'm saying I'm the artist of this one. I think for today, I just want to start off with a little bit of biography about, me as an artist and me as a political thinker. I'm just going back to my past, okay? Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm going to put a link to where you can purchase this shirt on Etsy in the description below. So, about me, when I was younger, maybe between the ages of like 12 and 14, man, did I really want to be a right winger. I remember, I was there all the way. These like scumbags, like liberals, undermining family values, godless commies. And a part of me, from some of my shows, still has some kind of conservative in me. And I'm not against that. But what happened to me, why I thought it's just not so black and white like I wanted it to be, goes back to my childhood. So my mom, very smart woman, and she always donated to environmental groups. So there'd be environmental newsletters like laying around the house. Like I'm believing it was Sierra Club. Okay, you got that. Now in her second marriage, which I'm going to put it this way, don't get freaked out here, was a marriage in the eyes of the law, but not in the eyes of God. So there, I'm just kind of maintaining some of that conservative thread. So this man she married was, you could call him a bully, but this bully was also a union blue-collar worker. So in addition to those Sierra Club newsletters laying around, there was union magazines laying around. So I'd read the Sierra Club, and here I was, I really want to be a solid Republican right winger. And I'm like, whoa. How is this Republican president loving America if he's opening up our wilderness to be eaten up? How's he loving America if he's rolling back these environmental regulations that shield us from things like acid rain in those days, dioxins, toxic cancer-causing chemicals? Then global warming was just kind of a twinkle in its mom's eye, but it was already online. People just weren't thinking about it too much. Well, ditto, I'd read those union magazines. I'm like, you got a similar vibe going on here. This Republican president, they're rolling back these workplace health and safety regulations, putting people's lives at risk. And years later, that man who I consider something of a bully, he did die of cancer. Was that from the workplace exposures? Okay, so what really, I feel, created a crack in my thinking, or made me start to reframe the situation, was when I was sitting there on the chair, because I wasn't allowed to use the couch. That was just his. But I was sitting there on a chair watching the TV news, and there was these protesters coming out. And I'm thinking, yeah, those scumbag protesters. But then I saw they're protesting to protect the environment against that Republican president. And it was like the whole thing started to unravel. Because you know what? I started to think, and I would tell this to anyone who identifies as conservative, I started to think, maybe what's happening here is the Republican Party in particular, Democrats too, but really in particular Republican, is they are dominated. The conservative movement has been infiltrated and dominated by what I call now the most reckless elements of the business community. So I feel the reason why I would say this is the shirt Trump doesn't want you to have, because if you look at it, if you reframe this thing as a big front for one of the most reckless elements, the fossil fuel petrochemical industry, and that really gets people to begin to rethink. The link to where you can pick up the shirt on Etsy is going to be in the description. It's revolutionary graphics on Instagram, and I think it's just revolutionary graphic on Etsy, but good luck searching it up at this point. And I hope you pick up a couple of them. I hope you leave a comment, and thank you for subscribing, thank you for listening and all that, and thanks for being with me all these years if you're one of my long-term people. All right, have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk with you next time. Until then, peace be with you.